Hello, everybody. Welcome back to How Come. I hope you're having a great Labor Day weekend. If you're in the U.S., woohoo, Labor Day. If you're not in the U.S., woohoo, life. I hope you're having a nice day. I've mostly been staying inside and just looking at TikTok, scrolling through Cedric Diggory and Draco Malfoy POVs. If you don't know what that is, I don't even know if I want to get you, but basically it's like all these girls are making videos as if they're dating or just were asked out by or got caught hooking up with Draco or Cedric or Harry or Ron or anybody in the fucking Harry Potter Twilight universe. And I will say they're pretty horny. I made one of my own. But there's a twist at the end. And also, before you're like, oh my God, Remy, these are children. They're the same age as me. I grew up with them. I'm allowed to still love fucking Cedric and Draco. Shout out to Robert Pattinson, who has COVID. I love you. I'm so sorry to hear. And yeah, this week our episode comes from LA. I came to LA and I'm like, did I fucking give Robert Pattinson COVID? Like, I didn't want to, I'm here for a thing. I don't want to talk about the thing because I don't want to jinx it. I'm super superstitious, but please know it was, I guess, worth it to me to risk getting sick. And I'm not sick, which is good. LA also has free and like very quick corona testing. If you go to la.curativeinc.com, you can just go get a test. So during this episode, I was staying with our guest, Sarah Afkami, who is a screenwriter and stand-up comedian who just wrapped on a Lionsgate project called The Look, which will be airing on Starz someday soon. Sarah is also developing a couple of projects that they're very excited about and won't let us mention on air, as you do. You're just going to love this episode. Thanks to Raycon Wireless Earbuds for supporting How Come. Raycon earbuds start at about half the price of any other premium wireless earbuds on the market. For a limited time, get 15% off your order at buyraycon.com/howcome. Did you hear that? 15% off your order at buyraycon.com/howcome. BUY raycon.com/howcome. Thanks to Sweet Vibrations for supporting How Come. Get 15% off all toys when you use promo code HOWCOME at sweetvibes.toys. That is 15% off all toys when you use promo code HOWCOME at sweetvibes.toys. And finally, massive shout out to Helix Sleep. Take their 2-minute sleep quiz and they'll match you to a mattress that will give you the best sleep of your life. Find your perfect mattress at helixsleep.com/howcome.
How come? How come? How come I can't achieve? How come I can't achieve? I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm rolling up my sleeves. Oh baby, I believe these guests can help. 'Cause I can't do it by myself. I wanna jizz.
I am so excited to introduce you to my friend, comedian Sarah Afkami.
Thank you.
Sarah, or should I call you Mendy?
Mendy is my alter ego name.
Okay.
Short for Mendel.
Okay. So I'm staying with Sarah Mendy, Sarah/Mendy in LA. We cannot tell you why. Just know it is something that I deem worth traveling for during Corona, and we don't want to jinx it, and hopefully it happens.
Touch your butt.
Touch your butt.
Nan
touch your
says
butt
to touch your butt.
Yeah.
For like in lieu of knocking on wood.
Yeah, no, she never knocked on wood. It was
That's
always touch your ass, or like you do the spitting thing.
Yeah.
She used to say but we love touch your ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently knocking on wood, it refers to like the cross.
Right. Yeah. Jews aren't supposed to knock on wood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what we know about Sarah so far: lives in LA, Jewish,
Persian.
has an alter ego called Mendy, from Texas.
Yes.
We didn't know that, but I just told you.
Sounds like a setup to a weird bad joke.
No. Well, okay. So first let's talk about Mendy, because I think it's interesting to me that you call him an alter ego.
Right. As opposed to I feel like a man trapped in a girl's body, you know. Basically, actually, like a gay Hasidic man, or by, I guess, pansexual man trapped in a woman's body.
A queer man.
A queer man.
Yeah.
And so, you know, there's definitely been this ongoing struggle since I was a teen. And a lot of times I just push it down. But Purim, I always end up dressing up like Mendy.
Okay, for those of you who don't know what Purim is, it is like our Halloween, Jewish Halloween. You essentially dress up as like
an Orthodox man.
As an Orthodox man. I love that. So it's interesting because we've only known each other for like a year now, but we've gotten to know each other pretty quickly. And we've talked about your gender identity, my gender identity several times. And like what's interesting to me about you is that you are at the place where you're registered in the Writers Guild as a trans person, but still in everyday life, it's like kind of a conversation and kind of like trying to not even figure it out because I'm pretty sure you know.
Right.
But it's how do I frame it to other people? Like even with me, when you first came out to me, it was like, I'm non-binary. And I was like, okay, cool. What are your pronouns? And it was like she, they, them, but it's whatever.
Right. And feeling like if I don't commit to presenting a certain way, I feel like I don't have the right to be like, no, you must say this or do this.
Because you don't want to inconvenience other people?
I think that it kind of doesn't matter to me. I mean,
okay.
I will say when, like I said the other day, actually, I was picking up sushi and the cashier accidentally called me sir, and he was so embarrassed. He thought I was going to be so insulted, but I was so pleased.
So delighted.
I felt so seen.
Yeah.
You know, I remember one of my first jobs. And by the way, with the Writers Guild, I mean, you know, it was in 2010 before
That's a long time ago.
It is a long time ago.
Like when you first told me, and like, sorry to jump in, and I'm going to let Sarah Mendy talk. I'm just going to call you Mendy because to me, you're Mendy.
Thank you.
Good. Yay. But when you first came out to me, I thought you were in a way different place because it sounded like maybe it was the first time you had been thinking about it. And then it wasn't clear to me until the other day that I was like, wait, can I just ask your pronouns again?
Right.
Because I'm not really sure. And you were like, well, in the Writers Guild, like I'm registered as a trans man. And I was like, so it's just so interesting that it's like, you did that 10 years ago.
Right.
And it's still a conversation.
Procrastinating, huh?
No.
No, I'm teasing. No, the bottom line really is like I kind of operated like in my brain, I thought I was Zach Morris. Genuinely, like the way I spoke and interacted with people or my jokes, like from such a young age, I felt like a smooth guy.
Yeah.
And it's funny that other people like, you know, like you remind me of Mindy Kaling. I'm like, okay, you're racist.
You're racist. You're like you've seen one other brown person in your life.
Exactly. It's funny because I think that part of the fear of actually transitioning, and I've talked to Gina about this a ton of times.
Gina Bloom, you guys have heard Gina on our last season, but she's great.
Yes, I met her doing her podcast, Shawit. Great podcast. Check it out.
Is that the one with the movies?
Yeah, like or all kinds of content and like.
Okay, Ben and I did her other podcast about movies.
You watched something that was very bro-y and then kind of like explained it to her?
Yes, but it was like The Matrix, so it also had trans undertones.
Oh, great.
We went in. Yeah, but anyway, sorry.
No, I love that. No, Gina's the best.
Yeah.
Plug.
Gina Bloom.
Gina Bloom. And explaining that part of my resistance is that I do care about being considered empirically attractive, and the fear and this is so superficial. Look, we're in Los Angeles. It's like that idea that like the first concern is I identify as attractive.
Whoa!
Right? So like it's like if I really did everything, say I did everything to a T, I would still not be a Hemsworth. I would not be Liam Hemsworth. I would maybe at best be like Mowgli on steroids. In my brain, you want to be this like virile and strong with that that Bowflex body. And, you want to, I mean, I'm actually really overcoming a lot of my sister calls me out all the time on like my toxic masculine mentality of like objectifying women and seeing them as just like these beautiful beings to be like to have a conquest or like you know, any kind of dominance. And I know that that's not the right approach, but it's still that primal mentality of like, if I'm gonna do it, I want to do it.
I want
right.
to do it the way that I've seen it. I want to be like you want to be stereotypically masculine, hot, stereotypically masculine personality as well. But I think what's so great about right now is that like we're learning that like there are like these masculine and feminine traits. It's like be you no matter what the label is.
Oh, I love that. Right.
Yeah.
I think that's the whole goal, right? Is for all of us to expand and be and feel free instead of being confined in these boxes of what's acceptable and what's not. And I mean, going back to that, we were talking about this. There's this idea that conventionally, like, men want to be respected for their ideas and their brains, and women want to be cherished for their feelings. Like, can we all want both? Why not?
Yeah. I think that's weird to make people or entire genders pick, like, because people are people are people are people. Like, it's the way that like certain cats horrible, certain cats wonderful, certain dogs the worst. Get away from me. That other dog we saw yesterday, get in my bed. I love you.
Crawl in my womb.
Oh my God.
That's the other thing actually that we've been talking about a lot. It's like I need to, I mean, maybe there'll be a scientist or a doctor that can answer this. Like one of the big things I do still look, my anatomy is female. So
the sex.
my assigned gender
you've
at
got
birth.
a uterus, you've
Right.
got a vulva. And we've been talking about the uterus a lot.
Yeah, and the magnets, like it feels like these magnets that just want to become people, you know. And I get so jealous of I like the anatomy of men. I get jealous because I feel like they're like these walking whimsical sacks of seeds, just wanting to like put their, you know, genetic DNA.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you want to spread your seed?
I like the idea of the whimsy.
Yeah. See, yeah, because you said to me yesterday, you were like, if I get a hysterectomy, like, will that make me not want to have kids? Because, you know, like my body wants to be pregnant, but my head doesn't. But it's also like you're fighting the man brain of like wanting to spread your seed that like carries on your DNA.
Right. It's complicated.
Yeah. But I think one of the first things that we talked about that even like led to the conversation was you were telling me about, you hadn't told me yet, but you were like, what if somebody, let's say, wanted a penis? And I was like, who would this person be?
All these hypotheticals.
Yeah. Do you remember the first time you were like, I want a dick?
I would say it really was, I just showed you a picture of her, Angela. You know, we were in like early high school. And it was more that girls would get me excited. Like I had this like phantom boner that would come about, and I would watch myself like, basically I was like an OG simp, if you're familiar.
If you're familiar with simps.
Right. Again, back to the toxic
You just wanted to please women.
Yeah, bend over
and get
backwards.
called a cuck for it. You just wanted to be a respectable person. No, I think she was your girlfriend.
She
was kind of like your first girlfriend.
She was. And I think I told you, like I would, you know, we would fool around a little waist up.
Yeah.
And then I would climax with her so quickly. I guess just the novelty of it.
Wow.
And then
just from like kissing and nipples.
And yeah, some sort of friction I would use like against my foot. I have like this way of like humping my own foot while I'm fooling around with people.
Like
you're
underneath you like
yeah, while you're I know it sounds really
No. Let's describe the position if we can for people.
I think it really is like, yeah, you're sitting, you know.
Were you guys sitting like this?
No, like
face to
lying
face?
down.
Okay, lying down and then sticking your heel into your crotch?
You know, whatever friction, I just basically any kind of friction.
Was she doing friction back to you?
Not even.
So your own foot friction, that was getting you off.
Yeah, I think now that I think about it with her, I mean, it's been years, but whatever it was so fast and so just the minute I would be done though, I felt so much guilt and shame. So then I would be like, let's go to sleep. And then the next day she'd be like, did you have any good dreams? Like I'd be like, oh, that was just a dream. Let's just pretend it was a dream.
Yeah.
Just the guilt of like shutting her down and not having it be a real connection. Like, because it continued on once in a while throughout like even I think my freshman year of college. And she really put the kibosh on it. She was like, it doesn't make me feel good.
Because you're not giving like 100% because it's clear that you still are embarrassed.
Yeah.
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 Do you think that was more a Texas thing, a family thing, like a society thing? Like, where do you think the shame was mostly coming from?
I honestly don't know. It was just so heavy. It was like this feeling of this is wrong.
Yeah. I know you said you told your mom like almost immediately after the first time you guys hooked up.
Yeah, I cried to my mom about it, and she did what I guess most Persian women would do. She blamed America. She said like there's sex in the air, the advertisements. It's just a sexual country,
which is like completely invalidating of anything. And I think it's really tough. I mean, it's tough for any queer person, but with pansexual, bisexual, where like people really don't believe that they even exist a lot of the times. So there's a lot of self-doubt within us as well. Like all the TikToks I'm seeing are just like gay people being like, part of being fucking pan is not thinking you are.
Right.
You know?
And I think society acts like it's so hedonistic. I mean, or we get this feeling of like pick a lane.
Right. And like selfish and stuff. And it's like, yeah, well, if you want everyone to, then you're also pan.
Right. But it's funny because I mean, like,
just because you're more restrained doesn't mean you're less gay.
Right. Or like your shirts,
the picky pan shirt.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, you can still be very picky even if you like people that like. I fall in love with souls. I fall in love with vibes.
Yeah. So, Mendy loves to say vibes, and if I drank and took a shot every time, I would be in rehab. Just from this week alone.
Yeah, we're working on using nature instead. And something of that nature.
Well, no, it just depends. Whatever. Anyway, so that must have been like soul crushing because like you're like admitting to her and she's like
it was like a mistake or
yeah.
like some sort of oversight
and like blaming not you but saying this is not a great thing that has happened.
Right. Yeah. I wouldn't say there was persecution. Maybe because I was crying so much and feeling the internalized guilt. Maybe that was the best way.
Maybe she was being like, yeah, it's not your fault that you're gay.
Right. And it was funny because I was attracted to boys too. So that's why it was like, they were like, no, you know?
Yeah.
And my mom's mentality was also that like, she said I have like small bones. That was like her other thing. Like she'd be like, I mean, maybe your sister, it makes more sense, but you have small bones.
Just because you have like a feminine
Delicate
feature. Well, that's the other thing is like, and we've said it like ad nauseum, is gender and sexuality are not tied to each other. Like you can be as gay as a goose and as cis as they come. You know, you can be trans and also, you know, like all of the things are mixed. Like what's that thing called? With the exclamation point in math.
Like a fractal, some sort of fractal permutation. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh,
there's a million permutations.
There's actually an awesome permutation between Passover and Shavuos. Okay, that's not important at all. Like, we can cut that out.
I don't know enough about that to talk about that.
Well, that's my favorite permutation. You know what I'm talking about, huh?
Gabrielle, do you know?
Yeah. All right.
Okay. But yeah, I think it's really interesting that you've been acting on your sexuality for longer than you've been acting on your gender.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny because in my brain, they're very intertwined. Like when I say I have a night of reaming my bottom, you know, or whatever. That ream is a very violent word. Let's say like,
I don't even know what ream. No,
it's very violent. Let's say like,
ream doesn't sound violent. It sounds like there's like a lot of lube.
I have to say, by the way, this person is very fastidious, very like
about their cleaning.
Absolute pristine, like just a very, very, yeah.
Waxes their hair.
Well, not just that, but like enemas and just cleanliness is 100% there. And actually, that's why I also have so many gloves.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
Those extra.
Yes. You guys listen to Anal 101 if you want just some tips for prep. But yeah, so when you have nights like that,
I do feel more, I would say that in a way, then I feel more confident the next day navigating through the world. Like I think part of like in my brain, this is a very like it's a way of I'm reducing it, but like my brain or my knowledge in a way feels like my cock. So I feel less of that neediness to like prove myself when I've had a night of self-expression in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does. It bleeds over into. He bleeds too.
We don't. You're gonna put blood and butt sex in the same. Danger, danger.
But it really does.
No, with careful prep, there will be no blood. Whoop, whoop.
Unless you really love the person.
Or unless you really love blood. Unless you want it.
I'll never forget. I went to research. I was maybe gonna write something based on a dominatrix, and so we went to a like a club. I was like a dungeon. Yeah, we went to a dungeon party, and there were a lot of some people are really into needles.
Oh,
there's like a whole section. Like there were tarps.
People are into.
Everyone's got their thing.
Everyone's got their thing, and as long as it's like done safely and like within like the things that everyone's like talked about, like I'm down for whatever you guys want to do, as long as it's not illegal and not hurting somebody else.
Consenting adults.
Enthusiastically consenting adults. And that's just something I was gonna. So the guy that you used a strap-on with, do you still see him?
I do.
You do. Okay. So when was it that, was he your first that you had ever?
Yes. I did purchase my first strap-on with the intention of using it on a woman. We actually, I think, picked it out together. And then, then we had this beach date, and she was moving to New York. And I think my intimacy issues kind of came into play. Because then suddenly her skin wasn't soft enough. And like the beach was too cold.
Oh no, it's like every girl's nightmare. It's like, you're not as soft as I remember.
I mean, it was really petty in retrospect. But
honestly though, like, and we've talked about stories like, you don't want to force yourself to do something that you're not wholeheartedly in. And so if it's going to hurt that person's like feelings, like in the moment, it's more worth it than being like, why did I do that? Like, I didn't even want to be doing that.
Right. Who wants that?
And I don't think anybody wants to be fucked by someone who's going to like regret it either.
Right. Or like midway through, like you're like you're not even present. Yeah. I mean, that's depressing.
Honestly, people need to stop selling sex on the beach as something that anybody would want. It's not sexy. It's not fun. I don't want to have sex on a beach. I want to have sex on a bed. I want to have sex on a mattress that maybe is designed with sex in mind. Yeah, I want to have sex on a Helix sleep mattress. That's what I want to do. You know what I want to do? Actually, I want to sleep on a Helix sleep mattress because I have been couch surfing this week. I mean, this was recorded. I was at Sarah's. Now, after my COVID test, I am at my friend Tim's house. You guys remember Tim? And I'm sleeping on his couch. And at Sarah's, I was on a bed, but the mattress was not great. It wasn't my Helix sleep mattress. And if you don't know what a Helix sleep mattress is, they are the best mattress on the market. The first time I discovered them, Charlotte had one, and I fell asleep in her bed. And I was like, I need to get my hands on these. So Helix Sleep has a quiz. It takes just 2 minutes to complete, and it matches your body type and sleep preferences to the perfect mattress for you. So if you're like a light type of soft kind of sleeper, maybe you sleep on your side, maybe you sleep on your back. Those are the things that you put in. Do you sleep really hot? Do you sleep really cold? Because with Helix, there's a specific mattress for each and everybody's unique taste. They also design mattress, like I said, with sex in mind. So all of their mattresses are hybrids, meaning that they have both foam and springs in them. Like other companies, they either have one or the other. Having both springs and foam in your mattress keeps you from sinking in too much, and it gives you the perfect level of bounce for sex. Their high quality springs are incredibly quiet and they won't sag. I used to bang so much at Nanny's house. No one ever heard. And yeah, you'll love it. And even if you're not banging, like some of you are sleeping on crappy ass mattresses right now. I bet your mattress is so old. When is the last time you bought a mattress? And like, think about how much time you spend sleeping. Having a better sleep quality has a better quality of life for you. I took the quiz and I was matched with a Helix Sleep Midnight. And what's also cool about, like, I let Ben take the quiz too, because their mattresses split down the middle if the couples are different, and like we're so different, we're such different sides, and the way we sleep is crazy different. I love it. I miss it very much. And I can't wait till we decide where we're going to live. I hope there's a vaccine soon so I can just get like a forever home and my forever mattress. I sleep so much better when I'm on my Helix sleep mattress. I fall asleep right away. I feel more rested. I don't have any crazy dreams. All of my friends who have ever slept on it loved it. My friend Chandler, who was taking care of Grace for like all of quarantine, the first few months, she slept on it and she was obsessed. And I've tried all the other brands, and I've tried brands that I thought were like really good, and I thought I knew what I wanted. Like I would always get like a squishy mushy mattress, and then I took the quiz and it was like, no, that's not what you need. So if you want to sleep more correctly, if you want to have a nice bed of sleep, go to helixsleep.com/howcome. Take their 2-minute sleep quiz and they'll match you to a customized mattress that will give you the best sleep of your life. They have a 10-year warranty and you'll get to try it out for 100 nights risk-free. They'll even pick it up for you if you don't love it, but you will. Right now, Helix Sleep is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/howcome. That is Helix, HELIX, sleep.com/howcome for up to $200 off. Go get them. Also, speaking of being comfortable, speaking of sleep, I love to use my Raycon earbuds, whether I'm sleeping with Ben or sleeping with Tim and his boyfriend. Oh my God, yeah, you guys, Tim has a boyfriend now. But I don't want to like keep anybody up in the house. I just pop in my Raycon earbuds. I can watch TV and movies, music. I can watch TikToks. I can do whatever it is my little heart desires without waking up the whole house. And because they have no wires, I can watch things on my computer from like feet away. Like when my desktop is all the way away. Usually I'd have to sit at my desk, plug in a wire, sit there. I don't want to sit there. I want to sit next to my boyfriend. I want to masturbate while I watch Drag Race. Like that's what I'm trying to do. We've teamed up with Raycon and they are offering 15% off your order at buyraycon.com/howcome. BUYRaycon.com/howcome. You guys have to go get these. They are amazing. I never wanted earbuds. And then the pandemic hit and all of our meetings became on Zoom. All of our recordings are on Zoom. And if I had not had these, like I wouldn't have been able to do everything, and easier now. So this recording, Sarah and I both used one earbud each, which is amazing. If you have like a sweet darling in your life that you want to like both go use an earbud, both listen to something, both watch a TikTok, both watch a porn, Raycon earbuds, share the experience with another person. I love the fit of Raycons. Usually earbuds pop out of my ears. They came with all these different sizes that you can pick depending on the size of your ear hole. They are cute. They don't hang down. They just fit right up in your ear. They got all new colors, which I cannot wait to get a new pair. I love the black ones, but I'm looking at you, Rose Gold. The sound quality is fantastic. I can always hear people the best through my Raycons. They're just awesome. They're stylish. They're discreet. The company was co-founded by Ray J. Celebrities like Melissa Etheridge, Brandy, Mike Tyson are obsessed with Raycons. So give them a try. Raycon has a 45-day free return policy, so you can make sure they are the pair of wireless earbuds for you. Aren't the people we team up with the nicest? 45 days just to figure it out. And then you can come on, go get them. I'm obsessed with them. Ben's obsessed with them. They charge so easily, and they charge for 6 hours of playtime. Their newest model, the Everyday E25 earbuds, those are the ones that I have. They're the best ones yet. They have seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, more compact design. They're just awesome. And even if you're the type of person that you're like, I never wanted earbuds, me neither. And now I don't think I could live without them. So for a limited time, get 15% off your order at buyraycon.com/howcome. That's BUYRaycon.com/howcome for a special 15% discount on Raycon wireless earbuds. And make sure to check it out now while the deal's running. Buyraycon.com/howcome. You want them. All right, and now I know you want the end of this story. So where we have just left off is Sarah didn't want to bang this girl in the mud. Sorry, no, at the beach or in the mud. And yeah, that's where we are. So you guys buy the toy, or you buy the cock, you buy the harness together. You're about how old at this point?
I'd say 26.
Okay, nice.
And then, then I kept it. I was unopened. And then actually my parents were coming to visit, and I lived exactly a block parallel.
Okay.
And my parents love cleaning my place. That's like their thing.
Yeah.
They're not so nosy. They're just like, they love throwing, I hang on to things. Like,
Yeah,
they're like,
yeah.
oh, like there's a poverty line. You got to like not look below it.
Stop being a hoarder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
much easier with other people's stuff, though.
Exactly. They don't know.
They don't know.
The sentimentality. So I took a bag. I basically de-parented my place. Like I took a big old bag. Really it was just weed and the strap-on.
Yeah.
So I put it all in a bag and I took it to my office at the time. And so I had it there and I was working with someone there and something happened. We were play fighting and it all kind of came about from that, from like play fighting.
Sorry, rewind. What did?
This person that I ended up pegging.
Oh. Okay, wait. So you brought it to your office.
Mm-hmm. And this person was a colleague.
And and then you guys were like play fighting in the office.
Mm-hmm. In the writer's room.
This is just like that episode of Frasier we just watched.
Hilarious.
When they end up getting pegged. No.
Frasier was ahead of its time.
Honestly, I could see that boss woman pegging Frasier and Frasier
100%.
loving it.
Pure bliss.
Pure bliss. Are you as turned on as I am?
Oh, Frasier.
Okay, so you guys are in the office. This is scandal.
I don't recall if I actually used it in the office, though. I'm
Okay.
trying to remember that. I mean, I know it was there. I may have chased him into the bathroom with it as a joke, like unopened,
Okay.
because it was red. I think I had like a whole joke about it being a red rocket.
Red rocket. You're like, I've
Yeah.
got a dog dick.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely, I think, bigger than.
Like Saint Bernard.
Well, and it's funny. Someone else on that staff would refer to me as Ira. That was like her nickname for me. Was like, oh, Ira, like you've got
Another
an old man
Jewish
vibe.
man
Yeah.
with a big red dick. Okay, so cute. So it starts as like play fighting, and then he knows it exists, and then there must have been a conversation around like, we're gonna use this.
Yeah. I think we had started talking about, like, my very first boss, I knew was gay before he did. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I think I said to the rest of the writer's room, I was like, I feel like I just could tell his prostate needed generating.
Massaging.
Some sort of generating.
Yeah.
And stimulation. And so somehow, like, prostates had become a topic of conversation in the room. Mm-hmm. So I think that's really how it all started, was talking about prostates. And this person had kinky yearnings. This person was the person that I engaged with, very kind of in the box square, who wanted to explore.
I was comfortable enough to do it with you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I loved, it was like for the first time, I mean, this goes back into the identity element, but like as a kid, I remember being at my parents' friend's house. If I were like lying, like say I was like 5 or 7 and I would lie down or like you fling your legs around and watch TV as a kid upstairs. And like my mom would be like, sit like a lady, sit like a girl, like a nice girl. And there was just so much about being less. So it meant so much for this person to actually be like more. Even though, I mean, like now looking at it, I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I do think I'm a training bra for his homosexual yearnings that he never will fulfill, because he maybe is a little more old school in that way.
Right.
And fearful to get into the scene.
Yeah.
So there are definitely times since then. At the time, I felt like so liberated and welcome. Like this receptivity that was there for me was just magical, truly.
And he also was receptive to your identity as well.
You know, it's funny because not as much as you'd think.
Right. Well, because that would make him gay.
Right. In public, it's like he still wanted me to be more a cute girl. And that disconnect really pissed me off. I'm like, you of all people. I mean, it goes back to gender and sexuality aren't the same thing, but I still think they're very intertwined.
Well, society has made them interlinked. Like we've been talking about disclosure, and you and I have both seen it, and it's like places so much emphasis on the person hooking up with the trans person knowing and being comfortable or whatever, when really it's like, it shouldn't be something that's like, okay, now that I know about your gender, like, and how it affects how I see myself,
right,
I'm gonna limit how you speak about it
100%, because then it's
Yeah.
like it's undermining who I am or it goes back to that idea that like toxic masculinity is this box. And so people are just trying so hard to fit into this box, and they even to the point where they're affecting how other people perceive themselves or express themselves, which I think is heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's a lot of cis straight guys judging other cis straight guys, and then them feeling like they're going to get judged even further if like they're like, I would never hook up with a guy,
Right.
or whatever, no matter how femme presenting that guy is. Like, that makes me gay. And that must feel so uncomfortable for you, who's like on the one hand feeling so sexually explorative and free, but then on the other kept in your box.
Right. 100%. And I think it's just how, like, navigating through the world, it's like, I don't even know what my priorities really are. I mean, the truth is, I think a lot of the time I am kind of a creature of convenience and habit. I mean, I that's why I have so much admiration and respect for trans people who go through the steps and transition, because I think it's like almost, it's such a shot in the dark in a way. You don't know how your loved ones are going to react.
I don't know if you're going to be hot.
That's
your main concern.
I know it's
No, because I asked you, I was like, okay, so how many, like, who knows? Like, who have you come out to? And you're like, oh, everyone that matters.
yeah, 100%.
And I'm like, oh. So, but there is still a fear when it comes to dating cis straight guys.
right. I think that I haven't been able to get rid of that little childhood fantasy of like, okay, I'm going to have like a picket fence and, a boy that I thought, like the kind of boy that I thought was cute back in the day, or like someone that my
Parents
and mom and sister especially too. Like, I feel like her opinion just means a lot. Like if she likes a guy's name, stakes are higher. Like it's so silly.
Yeah. Well, because you want approval too of the person.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, I think so much of it is like, how do we see our lives going? Or like to me, evolving really also involves like letting go of those old dreams and building new ones. I mean, I think that's why I was working on that new script about like, I basically wanting like a feminist professor to like make her own family with other women.
Yeah.
I do think the idea of like a bunch of women having a bond, and then like a man just like, if they do need dick, like a man is like, it's a revolving door of just like hot studs. But like the emotional bond could be between the women.
Dude, that's a lifestyle. My friend who we had as an anonymous guest, I think season 1, maybe it was season 1 or season 2. Check it out. Anonymous guest. Mostly dates women, but then they'll have a guy come in and be their little plaything for the night or whatever.
I love that.
They don't have a compound, but
yet.
But yeah, that's another thing I find really interesting about you is you do, I wouldn't say you're man-hatey, but there are things about men that you're like, I fucking hate that and I fucking resent that. And I'm like, but you're a guy.
Right. Well, so much of that is the way they were socialized. That complacent, like we were talking about with cisgendered men, like sometimes they're so pleased with themselves, and I'm sorry, not all, I'm not trying to generalize,
but
that
in historically they've been the main character.
100%. And that kind of that mediocrity, like, and like lack of empathy at times. And I think it's pure jealousy that I have.
Well, yeah, because we also kind of understand the lack of empathy because we're just like, okay, yeah, you've never felt less than.
Right.
Why would you empathize with somebody if you really don't get it?
Right.
Like the worst word you can call a straight white cis male is a straight white cis male. There's no slurs or anything. Like you could say cracker, but come on.
Right.
Like it just has to be close to your mouth.
Okay. How's that? The whole
great.
time. Okay.
Yeah. Like see where mine is.
Well, from my angle, that's why I hate driving, by the way, is my lack of depth perception.
You've
seen it. You've witnessed it firsthand.
I have. It's nice to see a man who can't drive.
I'm telling you, the body is there. It's like, I mean, this is not a productive narrative, but I don't know. Do you guys believe in past lives?
I'm open to the idea. I don't have any belief system per se. I'm open to everything. And I would like to think that there are past lives.
I just 100%, like I used to have like dreams or like I'd be half asleep and half awake and have these like, they felt like implanted memories. I mean, that's where it's not a constructive narrative to have, to be like, last life I was a gay Hasidic man and I cheated on my wife and that's why I'm being punished this lifetime as being like a, trapped in the body of like I guess like kind of a minxy Persian body. Like I definitely have eggs. You saw like when I was around that guy, we won't say his name, the other friend person, like there's no doubt like my body has a mind of its own.
Like you even warned me, you were like, I'm going to be weird or not even weird. It's just different, like more catering to the other person. Like we went to a sex toy shop. We went because I wanted Mendy to get a sex toy that I am very into. I wanted Sarah to get an air pulse arouser because I think they are the best sex toys for people with vulvas. And at the time I didn't understand the body dysphoria. Now I do. But yeah, if you are the type of person, you have a vulva, and you have always wanted just a little suction on that thing, get an air pulse arouser. When I like learned about blowjobs in health class, I was like, oh, I wish like we could get tiny blowjobs on your clit. And you can. So one of my favorite air pulse arousers is the Girl's Best Friend from Sweet Vibrations, of course. I highly recommend it. And I wasn't even going to let Sarah buy one of the other toys at the store. I just wanted Sarah to like feel the air pulse, what it feels like, and then we were going to order a Sweet Vibes one because they're the best. Sweet Vibes is one of my favorite companies that makes amazing sex toys. They embrace the taboo of sexual wellness and they don't hide it, and neither do we. So we love them. We teamed up with them over and over again, and they are offering 15% off of all toys when you use promo code HOWCOME at sweetvibes.toys. So I just want to tell you a little bit more about Sweet Vibes if you've not heard about them. The Girl's Best Friend, the air pulse arouser, is my personal number one. Both of its ends do something. So there's the end that sucks and pulses on your clit. And then there is the end that vibrates, and you can put it up, you can put it on, you can put it in, all that good stuff. Girl's Best Friend, that's the one that I love the most. My second favorite is the Perfect Match. Okay, actually, it might be tied for first. The Perfect Match is an internal external toy that goes up, and then it's got a thing that goes on. That was not a good description. It's got an internal part that vibrates and moves, and it's got an external part that goes on your clit, and it vibrates, and it's amazing. It's the thing that I had my first internal orgasm with, and I left it in Portland. I brought it all the way to Portland. I didn't bring it to LA. But I've got the Girl's Best Friends with me here. Other toys that they have that people really enjoy, they have a wand called Charmed. And it is a circle, but it's got a little dolphin fin, and it's clit magic. You'll love it. All of Sweet Vibrations products promote masturbation. Again, you can use them with a person, of course. But masturbation, let's remember, it's an essential part of one's sexual well-being. The Tulips is a silky soft vibrator uniquely designed to stimulate the entire clitoris, not just the tip. Its ergonomic, revolutionary design and 10 powerful but silent settings will pleasure you like nothing else. So if you are one of those friction people, this might be for you. The Pixie is a discreet clitoris vibrator made to fit in the palm of your hand. And all of these toys, they're just fantastic. So go get 15% off all toys at sweetvibes.toys and use promo code HOWCOME. You could use two at once. That used to be my favorite thing, was using the Perfect Match and the Girl's Best Friend at the same time. One in, one on, suck, 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 vibe, vibe, vibe. Oh my God. So go sweetvibes.toys. Promo code HOWCOME for 15% off. Go. I wanted you to have a air pulse arouser. Mm-hmm. And so we didn't want to drive. And so we called this guy and we were like, go with us. And he did. And it was like really nice of him to come and stuff. But like, it was interesting that like at one point you were like, I've never had a toy.
Then I admitted, I said, I've never had my own.
And I was like, what do you mean you've never had a toy? You've got a dick sitting in your closet. Like, what are you talking about? And he was like, oh yeah, no, me neither. And you were like, well, I've used toys on other people. And he goes, well, that's even weirder. And I was like, I can't believe we're letting this conversation happen, but we did.
Right.
Like, I think we both nicely explained it's not weird.
Do you remember he was like, I don't want a dildo up my butt? And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, first of all, princess, nobody's even offering for you. So you just fall back.
Yeah.
Fall back.
But
That's the thing. By the way, comics, like I have a bit that I actually does crush where I'm like struggling to put on my strap on because it's like very emasculating.
Yeah.
And then, but a lot of comics afterwards, guy comics, were like, oh, that was a joke, right? And then like get scared. It's like, relax. I have no interest. Like that assumption that like I'm running around wanting to like,
not
anally
you.
Yeah.
It's the same with Picky Pan. It's literally like, yeah, everyone, but not you.
Right.
Not anyone.
And that was the hardest thing, I think, growing up, knowing I was also attracted to women, was like, who do you tell? Because you don't want to tell your female friends, because then you don't want them to feel...
to think that you're like, have the hots for them.
And then your guy friends think it's hot, and that's gross. It's very isolating.
It really is. Even though you're like... Everyone, please. Everyone's like, nah. Pick.
Yeah, pick a lane.
Yeah.
Well, for a while, I would feel guilty and throw away my strap-ons. I would, even though they were
Why?
expensive, I would throw away strap-ons because I did feel there were waves of times where I would judge myself and be like, "Oh, this is so like hedonistic," you know. And so I would throw it away, and then, but then I would end up like somehow we would get back into it, and it was for
Fish it out of the trash.
Well, for the first few years, we were just like animals. I mean, it was just such a fun thing that we would use other phallic objects.
Oh.
Like that's not safe. Like
It is not safe.
like the tip of a wine bottle.
No.
1 year.
Well, you know what? A tip of a wine bottle. I mean, I'm not going to like advocate for this. Definitely like, I don't think you should stick anything like glass up there.
Yeah.
But I think the general rule is it has to have like a stopper. Like I thought you were going to say like a banana or something that could just like get like sucked up there.
No.
No. At least a wine bottle has a little stopper.
Once it was like a mini pool cue. We put a
What?
like a mini pool cue. Yeah, there was a lot of aggression and hatred of men that I think getting out. Like,
But he was enjoying it.
oh yeah. He liked it rough too.
Yeah.
Certainly. I mean, he would do the talking shit and be like the joke would be like, I didn't even feel it. Or like the next day, like, whatever.
Ooh.
Like, yeah, sassy.
Ooh.
So sassy.
Kind of hot.
Yeah, I think I did have a lot of anger toward my father because we've talked about how my father was just always telling me that like to not hide my beauty or like giving me grief for the way I presented myself. And so I think I just had so much I was just sick of being like, I don't know.
Honestly, it's not an uncommon narrative. Like so we had Buck Angel on. Do you know Buck?
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying that when he transitioned, like he used to be a fucking supermodel, you know, and people would say, don't give up your beauty.
Wow.
You know, like, how are you going to do this? You're such a beautiful girl. Like, you're going to give that all up. And I guess it is like kind of the leap into the unknown. I'm going to go from a beautiful girl to an ugly guy. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to lower my status to ugly guy.
Right. Especially if like, we kind of attribute our worth to like the kinds of people we attract to. You know, and I think that as like that little boy, whatever this man is in me, it's like I'm drawn to it. I wish I were not so shallow.
Right.
I had a question, Mendy. Like, do you ever, you speak like really positively about your body as it is. Do you ever, or have you ever like experienced dysphoria?
I would say so. I mean, I scrub her and just don't look like there's a lot of, actually, I think that's why I actually was so hesitant when we went shopping for the thing. Was that I don't mess with, even when I get myself off, it's all over clothes. I never really like I don't do the mirror thing. I don't interact. There's a lot of like denial. It's just
and I didn't even see what I was thinking was
that it would feel more.
That would feel because I kind of feel like I'm like jacking off a dick sometimes when I'm using those air pulse things. It's like an extension of it. But now I understand that.
Yeah, because usually everything I do, I keep my underwear on mostly. So
Okay.
like it's like a denial. It's just the friction works enough, and it's like, but it's not about. There's certainly this kind of like just a feeling of like mourning or loss or something missing. For me, that's a lot of what it is the sense of something missing. And I think I've had other relationships where like I would objectify. There was one, this younger guy, and I feel like I would have wanted his member. It's like that thing of like, I actually wish, apparently there's like lore that witches used to like steal penises and like have them as pets.
Okay.
I just love the idea of like having one as like a parrot like on my shoulder that I can like use when I want, and like
Polly want a cocker?
yeah, exactly. And he's just like my little buddy sidekick, you know? So I would say it's a lot more about just feeling like something's missing, you know? And having times I try binding. I mean, binding hurts. It really does.
Yeah.
I had a very butch history teacher in middle school and high school. And I really loved the way she identified as a woman, but she just definitely wore very like hyper masculine, like dress up. She basically dressed like Niles, you know, like a Texas version.
In a suit.
Yeah, like suits and lots of like, button-down shirts. Very starch, like properly starchy, like crisp.
Yeah.
Crisp linen, crisp.
And that's
khakis.
the aesthetic that you like.
I do love it. It's expensive though. You know, I think it's a lot harder to dress nicely as a man than as a woman.
I don't know.
You don't think so?
I don't know. There's like a lot of maintenance that goes into fucking lady products.
That's true.
Quote unquote lady products.
But garments, if you're really looking at garments, I feel like it's harder to cheat. Like I think that male clothing,
I don't know.
like a suit.
A suit, sure.
But
a suit in comparison to a cocktail dress is like, they're both, a suit you can at least wear over and over. A cocktail dress is, if you see it on Facebook, you got to get a new one.
Right.
Like
they're more noteworthy.
Yeah, women are expected to be like more novel, and like, I think it's easy. Like the suit is just like an amazing thing to like fucking hide your body. Like I used to think, I was like, I wish there was like a real good female equivalent for a suit, because even, you know, like you don't see the man's body in it. It's like a boxy.
It's a nice way to kind of hide everything.
Yeah. Like even like if you're feeling like schlubby or you're feeling like over your more comfortable weight or whatever, you put on a suit, you look pretty put together. Like I resent the fact that like, if I have to go to a nice event, like you can wear a suit and I have to show my arms and wear Spanx. Like that's not chill.
See, I've always like felt the opposite. Like as a non-binary person, I've always resented the fact that like there's like more. I feel like there's way more variety in like women's clothing. Like there's like way more like it's like much easier to like express yourself. Like I always feel like men's clothes, especially in the summer, I like strongly believe that like you can see like who can really dress in the wintertime, but like I just feel like everything is the same. Like all men's clothes are like the same. And
I guess it's the grass is always greener.
Exactly. Exactly. You know, for some reason I recently, I think on a plane or something, I saw like parts of that Sex and the City movie, like the sequel where they're in the wedding in the Hamptons. I would say that's actually an inspiring, I mean, the male clothing in that, like they wear lots of like pastel shorts and.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's, who was, Sarah Jessica Parker Stanford's wedding. Yeah.
Oh, well, of course, a gay wedding is going to be fantastic.
I'm just saying, all their casual summer attire. I would heavily recommend looking for if you're looking for inspiration.
Yeah,
it's funny because RuPaul was talking about in his masterclass that like everything's drag. Life is drag.
Yes.
Like the way we present ourselves completely. It's all an armor. So I feel like it's like whatever, to me, there is an element of like, I'd rather do what makes my life simpler and just more like I want the world to be more accommodating and welcoming. So I don't know. It may be cowardice, but it's easier for me to just kind of build like yes and God or whatever creative whatever made us or however we exist and just kind of build on it. I mean, but the good thing is there is so much androgynous. Like, have you seen these new like wearing a little bralette and then like matching shorts and like blazers is so in. So like a blazer for me is like my new public dick.
Yeah. Well, I okay. So I
feel
think
you. Yeah.
And money. To me, earning money, like nothing makes me feel more virile and masculine than like getting a residual check, which is so silly, right? Like, I think if we really are in control of ourselves, does anybody else even matter? You know, if we're really at peace.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way, I think, all the time, like especially as like a non-binary person, like in terms of how I dress. It's like it's just easier for me to like present masculine. And like there are days where like it feels more comfortable or it feels better. But it's just like, why but like sometimes I put on an outfit and I'm like, oh wow, this like pair of heels would be really nice with this outfit. And I would feel way more better. Like that's not English. Way better if I put them on. But then I'm like, but do I want the complications of like people harassing me, et cetera, et cetera. And like I think it also depends on environment. Like I'm much less likely to do something like that here in the Middle East, like versus like when I was like on my college campus, you know. But it's frustrating.
Definitely.
It's interesting. So I think Gabrielle and I have spoken about this, and like I'm so sorry, you guys, if I've even said it on the podcast, but I went to a panel once of trans people who were speaking. I think it was a live podcast, and there was one woman who she was bald, she had a mohawk, and she was wearing a skirt, but there was no surgery, there was no makeup. It was very like, she come as you are, but then like wear what you want. And she said, I'm a woman. And it was the first time I really saw somebody who didn't need to be society's definition of what a woman is. It was just, this is who I am inside, and this is how like I'm going to validate myself. And then I recently saw on Ashley Gavin's podcast, shout out to our friend Ashley Gavin. If you want to listen to her episode, it's called We're Having Gay Sex. And her whole podcast is called We're Having Gay Sex Now. And Ashley recently had on a trans woman who no surgery and referred to herself as the worst trans woman ever, because when she's not made up, when she's not in a dress, she doesn't mind if people use a different pronoun, and was saying that it was more about their intention.
100%. I loved, you sent that to me. I loved it. I agree. I think you can tell when people's hearts are in the right place. And, you know, I think not playing gotcha with people is good. I think it's good for the movement to not have people feeling like they have to walk on eggshells. Because I don't think that helps progress. Like, we're all growing together as a society, and we're, you know, there are mistakes, there are, you know, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It's tricky. It's really tricky.
And there's a difference in the response that you'll receive from people sometimes. Like if you ever did say to a friend, I really need you to use these pronouns or whatever, and then they actively were trying not to, like that's very different than somebody just slipping up and saying her or saying them or saying his.
For sure. You know, I'll share a little something that really got my blood boiling, because one of my, it was a friend that I was it was a messy situation where like the ex-fiance stayed with me when she was leaving him. But the guy himself.
Wait, so you need to
I had a guy
friend.
Okay, I had a guy friend. So we were really close, and he was actually one of the people that kind of acknowledged my masculine side and was cool about it. But then when we basically we had a falling out, and in the falling out, it's funny because first he said something. He got mad that I even let his ex-fiance like stay in the spare room, which was unreasonable. He blamed me for the breakup when I was like, dude, you treated her badly the whole time, so shut up, narcissist. But then first he wished, he was like, I hope you choke on a vagina. A trigger warning, but D word dyke. He called me a dyke.
Aww.
That it's funny that didn't really faze me. I just thought actually I kind of liked it.
You're like, I'm not.
Well, I actually was like, yeah, dyke. Like there's a moment where I'm like, yeah, yeah, you feel it.
Okay.
But then he was like, think of me when you look in the mirror and see your own facial hair. And that pissed me off because I was like, you're trying to get me to feel shame for something that I don't have shame for.
You're like, for something that I want more of.
Yeah, exactly. and it was this moment where it's like, he thinks that's like the ultimate dig. And I'm like, go fuck yourself. Because that's exactly, it's like, look, he went through his own orthodox phase where, like, so the idea that his beard can just flow and be, and it's all great. But, I might have like a one stray thing and like, it's a source of shame. I don't know why that just for me was like, and then I really dug in.
Well, I mean, it really sucks, especially somebody that you thought was supportive of your identity and then using that against you. Like I literally told you that this is so not equal at all. But when I told my mom about getting felt up on the bus by two guys in 7th grade, and initially she was like, go, you get it, you little baddie. And then like another time, like we were like fighting and she's like, well, you got felt up on the bus by two guys or whatever. And I'm like, well, what the fuck?
Right,
and like, I thought I was safe with you.
Exactly. That's what it felt like. And that thing of like, I'm just so, I want for all of us to not feel shame. And I think that's where the gender stuff really, and that's probably why I had a long phase of like, wait, is it just that being a woman is so hard in this world? Is that what
I was going to say, is it like a kind of a misogynist thing that you're like, I just don't want to be the less than.
Right.
But I don't think that.
I don't think so either, but definitely it's something to
think about.
Especially before doing hormones. I mean, I also have an anger problem. So the fear of taking testosterone and doing something that I could never undo is terrifying as well.
I would look into that a little more because I've heard that the testosterone making you more angry is kind of a myth thing to dissuade people from transitioning.
Not necessarily, no. Sorry, really passionate about this one. So something I'm actually particularly interested in, I'm studying naturopathy, is like hormonal therapy for trans people. And like managing the mood swings and such. Yeah, it is true. People will use that as like a dissuasion technique. Like that is absolutely true. But like it does happen to people. A lot of different things can happen, especially because it takes a while to get to a point where you're balanced, and like every person's balance is different. There's not one right hormonal balance for every trans man. There's not one right hormonal balance for every trans woman.
Wow.
And a lot of people, like even friends of mine, like especially trans men, like have experienced like feeling like aggression or like anger exacerbation. And then like on the flip side, like I have trans female friends who like experience like it's kind of sad because it feeds into these tropes about like men and women, but like experiencing extreme sensitivity like to things people say to them, or like just being extremely emotional. So there is like a level to truth about it. There is a level of truth about it, but that shouldn't be something that dissuades people, especially if you're, you know, getting the type of like medical attention you need and you're having a doctor walk you through consultation.
Right.
You know,
it's the same thing with like, I wouldn't just go on fucking antidepressants if a doctor wasn't it's medicine. It's something that you're doing to your body, and it's also your chemical makeup is different from everybody else's. So they would have to watch that and see how you respond. But it's also like a comfortability thing. Like I do think a lot of the times people feel they have to transition more fully physically in order to be taken seriously about their gender. And I would love if that was done away with. Like I was very inspired by that woman who like did zero quote unquote transitioning on the dais, and the woman that was on Ashley's podcast, and the guys in Buck Angel's documentary who have breasts. And I was just like, those are a man's breasts at the end of it.
Wow.
That's
beautiful. I agree. I think that the more we come toward this, I love the non-binary paradigm. I think it's just powerful to be like, we're all human beings.
Yeah.
And whatever's going on the 3D is not as important as whatever energetically, if you want to look at it as like yin and yang, I mean, whatever. Like, let people be exactly who they want to be.
Yeah, and everybody does have yin and yang within them, and it has kind of nothing to do with your feminine or masculine side, whatever they want to call it. It's like, it's just your makeup. It's like maybe girls are sugar spice and everything nice, but some boys are also sugar spice and cocaine,
Just a little bump.
just like a little bump, like everyone's like a little different.
I mean, I'll say, like, have you seen those anime, like hentai? Like, I would love if I could just push a button and just have like a throbbing cock of my own with veins, and it gets like super hard. Like if I did the steps and then that's what like the outcome was, I think I would do it. But because that's also, the technology isn't so there yet. I mean, I've looked into the neophallus or whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's like the technology is pretty meh. It's kind of rickety.
Right.
And it's like hard to get it where sometimes I think they take like skin grafts to have sensitivity, but it's like, and to get it hard is hard. I think it's like a hydraulic system.
But it could work great
of
for
course.
some people. But in regard to like your own like self-love journey, like I didn't really realize it was like kind of tough to like touch down there. And so like when you are masturbating, how does that generally go? And do you remember the first time you did it?
I do.
Okay.
So the first time I think I did do it in the more conventional way, I was watching Scrambled Playboy.
It doesn't have to be conventional.
I mean, but like that way, I think I just used my hand the first time.
Okay.
But I remember getting really dizzy, like that from when I climaxed. Like it was so disorienting and powerful.
How old were you?
I think 12.
Okay.
Is that? Yeah, 12. And then, the Scrambled.
Everybody loves that scrambled porn.
Yeah, because it had audio.
Yeah.
To me, I'm very auditory. Like I can, if even like overhearing people like in college, like my, like my roommate, my dorm mate would bring a guy home and I'd be pissed, but then I'd
get off.
Then I was a little less pissed.
Yeah. Like free porn.
Yeah. But I mean, lately, again, I mean, look, it's like not sexy. I can't believe I'm saying this to the world and your viewership, but like it's like over the clothes, humping my foot. It's on my heel, if you will.
That's okay. That's okay.
I remember my college boyfriend saying like, there's a stereotype that like watching a girl do it is so hot, but that I look like I'm having some sort of like spasmic issue. Like it's not. It's certainly not for the male gaze. It is not
for the male gaze.
It's not catered for the male gaze.
Which is literally what I was trying to say to that guy the other night, because like he also seemed like he wasn't like so down. Like he was like trying to like talk you out of it and shit. And I was like, listen, bitch, you want to watch someone have crazy orgasms or not?
Oh, yeah, that's funny. Yeah, we really couldn't have picked a more. Oh God, I mean, I don't know what we're gonna. Whatever, he won't listen.
He won't listen to this.
Yeah,
he doesn't even know it exists.
Yeah, it's gonna be too long. Yeah, it's not like he doesn't have an Instagram.
It's fine.
Yeah, no, he's fine.
So when it comes to penetration, are you down with that from other people, or is that like a no-go?
Depending on where I am in my cycle. Like it's not something I crave all the time, but like I'd say
with your menstrual cycle?
Yeah, like a few days before I am in heat. A few days before I have my period, I would say I'm in heat.
And you want to get railed.
Yeah, or like I like to sit on it.
Sit on it for a little more control.
That's I think the easiest way for me to
from rubbing.
Yeah. I think maybe I have a bigger, I don't know, or the
clitoris.
Yes.
That's lovely.
Thanks.
That's wonderful.
It definitely, I think, makes it easier.
Mine's so tiny and inside. Come out.
It's funny though, because I have also ruined 3-ways because I get off so fast. I mean, get off and I'm just like checked out. Like I don't really want it anymore.
You have a refractory period.
Yes, 100%. I think it's like a day.
So funny. I mean, a lot of guys, they're like, fuck, go to sleep and don't talk to you for like 10 days. That sounds classic.
On par. Yeah. One of the ways the gender stuff really manifested was interesting. Like my sister would change around me and I'd be like, will you not change around me?
Yeah.
And she would jokingly like shimmy.
Well, even I said to you, like, while staying here, I was like, well, now that you're a boy, you can't tell me certain things.
Yeah.
Or not now that you're a boy, now that I know.
Right.
Or whatever. Just because, like, and it shouldn't be this way, but to me, like, boys get treated a little differently.
I'm fine with that kind of like barrier or kind of boundary.
Yeah.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
And that is probably beyond the driving. But I think also, I was explaining this to you, like, I do find a lot of girls, like, I get more in my head and like like I can get more nervous around women. Like, I do feel like if I had gone alone with you to the sex shop, it just would have messed with me more. And having a guy there I said it that night. I think it didn't make sense to you.
It didn't make sense to me.
But for me, women are just so attractive that they make me nervous. I can't even look at her while I say this. You know, it's just like they make me more.
Women make me nervous too.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's also like I'm on lesbian TikTok till the cows come home. And it just seems like a very common thing that it's like bi girls trying to hit on lesbians and, you know, like pansexual people like with a more expansive group that they're into. It seems to be harder to hit on women.
Oh yeah, I had a lesbian once tell me, she was like, "You're too happy to be a lesbian." It's like, oh, I'm sorry, like I'm not like cool enough. I don't know. They're very cliquey too. They can be.
Well, sure. People are people.
I know. But the scene, the LA lesbian scene can be very too cool for school.
Total. I mean, yeah. I don't know anything about the LA lesbian scene, but I know that scenes typically, like if they've been repressed especially, are going to be a little more insular.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I don't know if you want to cut this out, but I know for a while, apparently Kristen Stewart would have these like orgies, these like all-female orgies.
Why would I want to cut that out?
I don't know.
I fucking love Kristen Stewart.
Yeah, she would apparently have
and
these, like,
her female orgies.
Yeah, she would have these like all-female lesbian orgies.
Holy shit.
Back in the day. Like I'd say like 4 or 5 years ago. That was the rumor.
Dude. Oh, and you guys, shout out to my poor, sweet boyfriend, the third in me and Kristen's throuple. Robert Pattinson, you guys, has COVID. And I'm so sad.
I know. It was, you gasped. I was like, what happened?
I literally... And I heard about it. I came through on a Twitter alert while I was listening to a song from the Twilight soundtrack. So I would, yeah. And then I posted about it, and one of the fans DM'd me, and she was like, just makes me think about how Edward Cullen died, because Edward Cullen in Twilight, before he became a vampire, died from the flu. Almost. So sad. Ugh, Robert Pattinson, please call me. Please. I'll get COVID from you. I don't care. I love you.
That's so romantic.
I love you.
Oh, man.
Okay, we've already done an hour.
Oh, wow.
I know.
That went by fast, didn't it?
I know. I wanted to talk about just quickly the Bella Thorne scandal on OnlyFans that happened this week. We were going to do an episode with some professionals from the industry, a cam girlfriend of mine, a stripping and OnlyFans friend of mine, and my friend who's a sugar baby, but we couldn't make the time work this week, so we're going to do it next week and we'll put it on Patreon. But basically, Bella Thorne joined OnlyFans this week, which we were like, yay,
woo,
this will be exciting, mainstream, like making it normal. And then like 2 days later, after we had said that, Bella Thorne fucked up OnlyFans. You know what happened?
I don't know exactly.
Okay. So she has all these subscribers, and she puts out a message, which is a PPV message, pay per view. She says it's a full nude. She charges $200. Everybody fucking goes to buy it. She makes like $2 million in a day. And then the thing is not full nude. It was a lie, I think, a scam. All these people asked for their refunds, and now OnlyFans, because they can't give that many refunds, they limited the cap on how expensive you can make PPV videos now. So instead of 200, it's like 100, or it's like 50 or something like that, which, like, for Bella Thorne, not going to matter. Why would she ever care? But for other sex workers who, like, this is their entire income, like, you just cut their income in half or in a quarter or
Half. Well, potentially
a half or potentially even more than a half.
Absolutely.
I don't know if they changed it from 100 to 50, but that's the scandal that everybody's talking about, and that's why everyone's upset.
It almost reminds me of when Zach Braff like used Kickstarter or something. Like he used some democratized site to like raise money for something. I think it is messed up. It's like you already have a platform. Like,
oh, I was not mad at her for joining or using at all. Like literally, I talked about it with Slutty Girl Problems and Horgasmic. We have a whole Patreon episode about it, and we were like, oh, this is awesome that celebrities are joining it because it makes it like more normal. And then maybe other people, like from their accounts, they'll find other sex workers that they like, and it'll just be like this great thing. No, now it's the sex workers who are getting the raw end of the deal. It's not OnlyFans. It's not Bella Thorne.
right.
You know, where they really should suspend her account because she's making the whole industry look bad now. She's not even in the industry, and she's making it like sex work seem like a scam.
Do we know the level of not all nude? Like, was it like what wasn't enough for people?
It wasn't all nude.
But was it like what did everyone want that wasn't there? Like
At least nipples and vag.
they wanted a little nipple and a little vag, huh? Yeah, I mean
like I would feel duped.
they bait and switched. That's not cool for her to bait and switch.
Exactly.
It's heartbreaking.
Yep. Yeah, and I think you can make an OnlyFans even if you're doing financially all right. Like if you want to do one tomorrow, I think it's still fucking great. But don't take other people down who this is their only income. They have families to feed. Is it going to be worth sucking a dick for a less than $200 pay-per-view video? Probably not. But like, are they still going to have to lower their rates because of this? Like, she literally just deflated internet sex work on this website.
And she's getting a lot of celebrity like support in this like narrative that she's being victim blamed too, which is interesting.
Isn't it kind of, I would say it's OnlyFans' fault too. Like the actual site, they should have taken, like you said, they should have taken different.
They should suspend her account 100% until she's ready to be honest. You can sell bikini pictures for $50. People would still buy that. But you can't say full nude and have it not be full nude. It just is dishonest.
It's pretty flattering that people wanted to spend the $200 for her picture.
Her full nudes, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in this world of just endless porn.
That is very flattering.
Yeah, there's like an allure about being a celebrity, I guess. Like this,
Yeah.
the allure and accessibility.
Yeah. We were talking about I'll just give you a little snippet into our Patreon episode about how, actually, no, just listen to the episode. It's really good. It's only $5. And I do think it's funny that it's behind a paywall. Our OnlyFans is behind a paywall. Just do it. Patreon.com/howcome. But Mendy, I have a few final questions if you're
Please.
open.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. I know you said you're more comfortable this way, and how do you kind of see your journey going in your heart of hearts and your idea, like, you know, like where do you want to be?
I have to admit, okay, so I do have this fantasy of like being serious with a woman, and then like having that setup that your friend seems to have, where it's like once in a while a guy comes in and out, or even a guy that's kind of like our throuple. I could see myself in a throuple because I do feel like I could
see you in a throuple as well.
I think it'd be fun, and also it's like different outlets, and then you can be a different person at different times, or really maximize parts of your own personality. And I also like the idea of like the people there's someone else shouldering the emotional well-being of this. There's just something so intense to me about having like being someone's beloved
one-on-one.
Yeah,
being the everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easier in a tripod for everything to stand up. I'm like excited for your journey, even though it's been going on for as long as we know. You know, like I think we're in a place where there are a lot more people who are exploring different types of relationships. Like one of my friends just told me she's on Field. because she wants to be E&M now, ethically non-monogamous, you know, and you know, you go on those apps and can I make a judgment call just
Absolutely. I'm shocked that you're asking.
Okay. Like I feel like I feel like the people that you have picked, the guys in the past, haven't held space for you completely the way that you need to be. Like maybe sexually, sure, but then like not your gender. Maybe your gender, but not sexually. And I'm excited for you to explore the options of people who are going to do that for you.
Amen. Thank you. That actually didn't feel judgmental at all.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's like, and where do we find those? I think we joked about it the other day. It's like, where are they? I don't know.
They're on Field. And this is not an ad for Field, but like, it's like we have these different apps now where you can tell people your kink from day one, or you can tell people about your sexuality. And then it's like, that's not even going to be a conversation, or it's not even something you have to worry about, or something that you have to be like, I'm going to turn into another person around these people, which like we all do. Like I'm a Virgo. I adapt to everybody I'm with. I'm literally like, oh, you don't like this apartment? Me neither.
Isn't it funny? It's hard not to adapt sometimes. Mm-hmm. It's just like, I think it goes back to not wanting to wanting peace.
Yeah.
Day to day, we kind of want peace.
You want to keep the peace. I don't know. We're of different minds sometimes. I'm like, shut it down. I can't talk to you. And you're like, it's fine as long as you're nice and the.
I know. I still want to go see those.
Yeah, we can't talk about that. But yeah, I mean, I think it's really great, your perspective. Even though I think a lot of trans people do think it's like, I'm the worst trans person ever. It's like, if I don't mind about my pronouns and stuff, but like you do mind and you do care, but you're not going to hold somebody and make them feel like the ultimate asshole if they slip up.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Actually, one of my best friends is a therapist, and she's gotten really good about like being mindful, and it means a lot. Like the biggest thing I think for some reason when people say, hey girl, I'm like, girl.
I hate that.
Yeah. Girl especially is like,
well, I mean, I hate, we've talked about this. There is no female equivalent to guys or guy that's like casual and not too like, you don't immediately picture a dress. Like if somebody says like ladies, I hate that. If they say, hey girls, I hate that. If they say women, I'm like, ew, women, you know, like, cause like it's been given such like a bad connotation, like woman.
How about pips?
Pips? I've been saying guy.
That's too
but it's
similar.
too similar to guy.
It's too nuanced.
Like Ben will be like, oh, the lady at the front desk said it. I'm like, you mean that guy? And he's like, yeah, that guy. But yeah, you guys, if you have anyone, and don't write in and say y'all. I know that y'all exist. I know that yins exist, but that's all encompassing. I want it, if it's a pack of women who feel they are women, but they're also cool enough that you would call him a guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. It's that neutrality. I think there really is something about, there's this heaviness of having a womb. I think it's like heavy. It's this gravity. You're tied to the moon, and every month your body sheds this lining
and reminds you you're here to produce.
Yeah, like grains of sand going past, you know, it's like you're so tied to time.
Like grains of sand through the hourglass. These are the days of our wombs.
Yeah, exactly.
That is a soap opera joke for no one but Nanny's soul in heaven. Yeah, there is an immense pressure on people with wombs. Like, especially if you come from like a religious upbringing or even not, and you like just hear about the Bible tradition. Like, I remember watching The Handmaid's Tale and being like, okay, well, I could do that. You know, like thinking of like this dystopian thing and being like, okay, if I had to just be a womb, like, could you do it? And it's like, yes. And it's like, stop it.
Right.
Don't even go there. Like, people with wombs are so much more valuable than just popping out a child every so often.
Absolutely. Wow. Yeah. It's the expectations. I mean, we're evolving, thank goodness.
We are. And it is something you think about if you're thinking about looks, if you're thinking about who's going to like me. Like a lot of who we are is just constructed by who we think other people are going to like. And it's like, just focus on like what you like, and then those people will come.
Yeah. And being authentic, just being authentic and transparent. I mean, it's a powerful thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I love you. I think this is going to be a great conversation for other people to hear.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Mendy, where can everybody find you online?
Well, my Instagram is Afkami, S-A-F like Frank, K-A, M like Michael, I.
On Instagram.
On Instagram.
You on Twitter?
A little. I think it's
Okay.
just my full name. My handle is
right.
my full name.
Cool. I'm on Twitter, you guys. Follow me. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Remy Casimir. Follow podcast, How Come Podcast. Write us things. Tell us about your life. Maybe we'll feature your story on the podcast. I think we're going to start doing that because I just got the most outrageous letter from a pastor that I'm like, this needs to be on an episode. So that's a little teaser for you there. If you guys want to write into us, definitely do that. If you want to check out some merch, howcomepodcast.com. If you want to be a good listener and make me happy because we haven't been on the charts in like this whole season. And I'm like, why am I doing this? Fucking rate, review, subscribe, tell your friends, post stories, tag us. We need you. I can't do it alone. Chicago.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
I think she's got the best voice. She's so modest.
Oh,
about it.
you stop it. And yes, I have to ask you this at the end. I have to ask everybody at the end of a sexual experience. Did you finish?
I did. That's why I need a nap.
Okay, good. I finished as well. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
You guys, we'll see you next time on How Come. Goodbye.
Bye.
Yay.
It's not you, it's me. I try so hard to finish honestly. They say you'll know when you go all the way from A right down to O. Oh no, I think that I still got a ways to go. Oh, I'm sick of this and I have got to know. How come? How come? How come I can't achieve? How come I can't achieve? I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm rolling up my sleeves. Oh baby, I believe these guests can help. 'Cause I can't do it by myself.